Believe in, kicking knowledge, damn still, no retreating. Dropped up out of college, now the teachers, I'm proceeding, Say less, do more, what's the reason? Put you to the test, Valley Nest, I had to leave it, Hard to follow, find a purpose, I'ma lead them. Trying to control, we gon' alternate, delete them like money don't make you real.
We in the clouds, baby. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
So, I don't really know how to define you as your business because you do so much stuff. You do music.
Definitely.
You have your own company.
Yes, sir.
Marketing. But I think the most thing that I see that you're most proud of is your father.
Definitely.
How's it been? 2025.
So, right. It's a journey. Fatherhood is the only hood that accepts me, that claims me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I look at being a father, not to be, like funny in a simple way, but it's to further, to father is to further. Mm-hmm. So I look at it as like, this is like a leadership responsibility.
Just bring it a little bit closer
Boom.
to you. Yeah, there you go.
Boom.
Yeah.
So fatherhood changed me for one, having my first child. It let me know what my purpose was, like I wasn't confused about what I needed to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
But, to answer your question, in 2025, fatherhood is showing me like, I'm responsible to not just further my tribe, but, I got to set an example as a leader because 2025, these children especially are advanced, like they're paying attention to everything. Mm-hmm. But, the journey has been a roller coaster, so it's ups and downs, but, I definitely enjoy it, like I'm definitely a father first before anything,
Definitely. Is it hard balancing everything at once?
So yeah, definitely it is, I look at it, as though like it's not supposed to be easy, as far as like just juggling, just maintaining, getting through life and experiencing the ups and downs,
Sure.
and finding that balance,
Were you always able to like keep that balance between your family and like the stuff that you wanted to do?
No, like it's dysfunctional, it's still, I look at it as like, even as entrepreneurs, we would like to think that it goes like, all the way on the up and up, but at every level, it's literally, it's ups and downs at every level. Mm-hmm. But it's hard, but I look at it as like I'm built for it, certain
Sure.
things I signed up for. I do. It's a humbling moment sometimes where I sit down and think like, damn, this is what I signed up for. Mm-hmm. But
no, that's one of the greatest challenges you face in life is being a parent, right? Like there's nothing harder than being a parent.
Right. For
Not only are you thinking about your future, but now you got to worry about someone else's and what that's gonna entail.
Definitely.
As an artist myself, it's so hard to think about my art and then think about all my other responsibilities. Right. It's almost like the art is on the side. It's like, it's not a side. It's like, it's a break from that.
Right. I'm learning, I don't know if you've heard it this way, but it's like, there's the 3 H's, I'm big with acronyms and stuff like that for people that know me, but with being an artist, it's like you join a career where you go through those phases where sometimes it's a hobby, sometimes it's a hustle, and sometimes it's a headache, but depending on how much leverage you have, you get to choose which like threshold you're at, but that's kind of helped me to compartmentalize like, okay, being an artists are finicky sometimes, and some of them it's just a hobby, so that's why, and we have to accept it. For some of them it's a hustle, and still the hustle doesn't pan out, but it's like being an artist, it's still a gamble.
So so you're an artist, you do music.
Definitely.
But what is your company about? Like what is
So Dignified Marketing, for one, is a marketing firm. Shout out to Lorenzo Rogier. He's my partner. So I'm partnering with Lorenzo Rogier to build and scale Dignified Marketing. So this is a direct sales marketing firm where we literally go door to door. We offer natural gas as a product, and we help people enroll in a price protection plan. But so literally that is a natural gas, so the product, is natural gas. That's a direct sales marketing company that we use to generate weekly income and show young entrepreneurs, how to just grow and develop into becoming a better version of themselves.
Okay.
So, boom.
Well, that's so scary sometimes thinking about it, because you have to knock door to door. You don't know what's gonna be behind that door.
Definitely.
Do you have any crazy stories? Like
100%. I've been through just about everything,
Yeah.
I like to within the company we call like I'm the dinosaur. I'm like the veteran, but all I can say is like nothing can prepare you for the doors. You know, it's not something that you can like just brace yourself for. You have to go through it to get through it. You know.
Well, you said that you did it before. You were doing it before you started your own company.
Correct. Yes.
You were doing door to door. You were selling electronics, I believe.
So I did do the phones and tablets, but I did start out selling natural gas. You know.
Oh, okay.
I was with another marketing firm. It was ran by a CEO named Michael Diadamo.
Oh yeah.
He has one of the biggest marketing firms. You know.
Okay.
Shout out to him. But yeah, so I started out there, and that's when I began my journey. I was recruited by somebody who I'm establishing a partnership with now. His name is Nathaniel Rufino. You know,
Okay.
he's the number one marketer in the state, and I stand on that. But with that, yeah, so he pitched the opportunity to me. I took advantage of that. I got to build a relationship with Michael Diadamo, you know, and help to add value to his marketing firm. And I got the jewels, you know, the 5 to 8 steps, the garlic system. And I began to, you know, establish some leverage as becoming a principal in business myself, you know.
What's one of those like key things he taught you, like something that like changed the way that you approach it?
Definitely. So systems, like really he introduced me to some systems that helped me to not have to reinvent the wheel and literally just work the systems because they work. And like when I say 5 steps, the 8 steps and the garlic system, those are the systems.
Okay.
He literally told me that's how he leveraged millions.
Okay. And what are those like? Are those sales tips or are those more?
So the 5 steps is to a conversation. It shows you how to have a conversation and how to add flavor to it.
Okay.
You know, and by flavor meaning, you know, impulse factors, you know, some suggestions and analogies, how to break the ice, you know. But the 8 steps is a combination of attitude and work ethic systems, you know. But the attitude determines your altitude. That's one of the jewels where, you know, in many meetings, he would just drop that seed. He would make it very known, like, hey, your attitude determines your altitude, you know. Work in terms of systems, you know. If you can't follow simple instructions, you'll never be successful.
Yeah. Well, it's always that thing where it's like you got to learn the game first before you execute your own strategy, right?
Right.
You learn the what works for everybody else. You learn the history with something, no matter what you're doing. You know, if you're doing sales or if you're doing music, if you're doing painting, whatever. You look at the greats that did it before, and then you learn from them so that you can not only be great but put your own spin onto it.
Definitely. Right. A lot of it too, like, you know, there's some people who don't understand, like, it's not that you're plagiarizing, but, you know, it's like if you take a winning formula and duplicate it or replicate it, there's no harm in that. That's what it's meant for, you know, because success doesn't care what your story is, what your background is, you know. Success doesn't care what your excuse is for not being consistent, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, without a doubt, that's something about the universe or, you know, success. Everything, it's non-biased. It's not doesn't care about where you come from. It doesn't care about the struggles that you've been through. It's gonna be the same for everybody else. It might be a little bit easier, you know, with resources and opportunities that present themselves, but there is not the universe doesn't have like a tally. Like it's not oh, this time he did this amount of things. Okay, I'm gonna. Sometimes it will, but it won't. It's not gonna be like it's not something that you can expect.
definitely. Right.
And it's always when you least expect that you get those big breakthroughs or those big moments where you're like, oh shit, okay, I'm all right, or I'm doing something good now.
Right. I'm learning too, like being out of your comfort zone, that positions you for a blessing. You know, having that mystery of the unknown sometimes is a good thing, you know,
Without a doubt.
because you get to go through that experience. And sometimes like just on the other side of that fear is when you realize like, oh, it wasn't that bad, or, oh, okay, I was really, you know, I was overthinking it, you know.
Do you remember your first sale, like first time going up to a door?
So yeah, I mean, it was terrible, you know.
Yeah. I bet.
Like I mentioned in the first podcast too, you know, I do have a speech impediment, you know. I still get made fun of about it, but I'm on my journey, you know. But yeah, my first doors, I stuttered, you know, marbles in the mouth, shaky at the knees, anxiety, started sweating, you know, and it's good to go through that, you know. Like I was super far outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Super far.
Well, yeah, you don't grow if you're not outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
You have to keep getting out of your comfort zone to grow. You know,
right.
It's uncomfortable for some people, and that drives people away a lot of the times. you know, with me and I was talking about David, the sensei. He
Shout out to him.
shout out to him. Yeah,
Wow.
go check out that podcast. It should be out by now. He, fuck, I forgot what was the. What
You
we
were
just
talking with David?
We were talking about talking to David about embarrassment, how it can be the biggest downfall for people because they're scared to get embarrassed and they're scared of that feeling of embarrassment, so they'd rather not even risk it. They'd rather just stay comfortable.
One thing one of my mentors told me is like sometimes failure, like failing forward is what you need to go through. You know, like don't be intimidated by failure. Like fail, you know, like fail head on. Like look forward to failing, because the most people, the most successful people that you know have failed plenty more times. You know, and that's where it's like back to the acronyms. You know, like just fear is a false, you know, is false evidence appearing real. So it's like having that mindset too, where it's like even if you aren't knowing or aren't certain, you know, still take that step, you know. Being courageous is still taking the jump, just even though you're scared, you know.
So what are you guys' goals as a company?
So as a company right now, we leverage weekly income to generate financial freedom, to, you know, leverage OPM. You know, we plan to do real estate. Excuse me. But literally, as a small business, we plan to generate weekly income, show entrepreneurs how to, you know, how to make some weekly income and learn how to sell, and show others how to sell. But on a general note, like we literally plan to develop offices, you know, and take over nationwide, you know. But just extending the opportunity, you know, being in a position to add value through offering those products. But once we can become financially stable, we can take those funds and you know, go into the wealth builders, you know, like real estate.
Yeah.
You know.
What intrigued you about the sales world and about that? Like, was it when you did it, you're like, okay, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I love doing this.
I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I struggled bad, and I always questioned. I was like, is this for me? You know, like I used to always question, like, man, what am I doing? But to answer your question, the most successful people I know are winning in this field. So that's what made me figure out, like, okay, something I'm not doing right, and let me get right before I get left, you know.
Yeah.
And get on the train, you know, because it's going, you know, like multimillionaires, you know. The person who I mentioned to you earlier is valued at a couple $100 million, you know, and he's my mentor at one time, you know. He still is virtually, but yeah, the most successful people I know are in this field. So I said, I got to get right personally, and then, you know, start just developing a professional relationship with the whales.
Okay. I was gonna ask you something on top of that, concerning that.
You know, my bad. I'll be rambling.
No, it's all good. It's all good. That's what we want. That's don't ever apologize for rambling. You keep going as much as you want. Is the sale world, is it like a dog eat dog world?
It's
like
competitive.
no one is gonna watch out or like look. Well, besides, you know, your team,
Right?
But no one's looking out for each other.
Shout out to Team Dignified. So, but no, I will say this industry is competitive, it's cutthroat, and rule number one: there's no friends. You know, but not to sound hypocritical, but yeah, Dignified Marketing, my team, you know, we named the company based off of what it means to actually be dignified, you know, and that's to show like a serious or composed manner that's worthy of respect, you know.
Yeah.
So even though this is a cutthroat industry, we're not gonna, you know, we're not gonna cheat our way to success, you know. Like we're gonna literally have a dignified system and work that system.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's definitely good to see that, you know, you guys aren't just worried about, okay, we're gonna get as many sales as possible. It's about, you know, giving back to the people that are working for us, that are putting their energy and their time into us.
Yeah, we have compliance meetings though that are serious, you know, like some of us would feel like we don't have them as often, but it's like, you know, our competitors, that's how they've been able to stay in business for as long, as just through maintaining that supreme compliance, you know.
Yeah.
So we're still working, you know, like we're still learning.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, what was the official day that you guys started the company?
So January 1st, 2024 was day one.
Okay.
So like, yeah, the New Year's is just, it's really a milestone, but it's also like another day to look back on the memories. But we did have a meeting towards the end of, you know, 2024. 2023, in Davis. You know, we had one of the vendor managers fly out and meet with the team at the time. But we started knocking day one, New Year's Day, you know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you guys had everything in motion pretty much before then.
Yep. So
that was just the day.
Yep. Shout out to my partner.
Who did it start off with? Just you and your partner, or was there already a team?
Great question.
Built
Right.
around you guys.
So my partner Lorenzo Rogier, he manifested the idea. He had the contract, signed an NDA, hasn't told nobody how we got it. You know, like people still ask him. He is true to that NDA. But no, so it's his baby originally, right? He made a phone call to me because we had crossed paths in the first marketing firm that I told you about, and he asked if I was still in sales, and I was. You know, I did have a team, but we were doing the tech products. You know, but he asked, he's like, hey, I got a company. I got a contract, you know, I need a team. I said, hey, I got a team, you know, and, you know, one thing led to another. We had another meeting, you know, and it was a blessing because both of us needed a phone call like that, you know, and that's really what started it. Me having a team, him having a contract, and us coming together and having that meeting.
When you had that team, so those guys were, you were with them when you guys were selling the
phones and tablets. Yeah. So some of us would set up and some of us would go door to door.
Okay.
But it's still in the same ministry, but it's just a different campaign, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I had a team that none of them did the energy campaign or the natural gas campaign. We all did the phones and tablets. But I told them, hey, this opportunity, this is where the money's at, you know. There is going to be a shift, and sure enough, February 7th, that was the day that there was a change in what's called the ACP, and that affected a lot of money for people that were selling that were distributing the tech products, you know.
So you were, as a team, were you already a leader in that team when you were coming over?
Definitely, definitely. So I pretty much, you can say in a management position at that point.
Okay.
So
You were already used to having that team under you. Or
so
like leading a team.
Leading a team, yeah. So I've had that experience leading a team. It was a bigger team than I was used to be honest. But it was a situation that, you know, ended up being a blessing, especially once I got that phone call from my partner.
Yeah.
You know.
How hard is it to lead the team and, you know, maintain those relationships at the same time?
So it's like being a parent, you know. And as far as like you gotta lead by example, you know, like you gotta like to father is to further. So you got to really cast a vision, motivate along the way, you know, and just provide direction. So, but it's constant because with the marketing thing, it's not our job to unpack their baggage, but in a sense, we kind of help them unpack their own baggage, but we help them to grow and develop. You know, that's where them doors, they teach you who you are. But on a one-on-one tip, like we personally develop people on how to get right mentally, you know, and financially, you know.
Without a doubt. I mean, you could prepare someone as much as you can, you know, give them all the tips, but it's all about experience. It's all about going to that door and just talking to people.
Right.
That's the hardest part, right?
Definitely. You're right.
Man, that's scary. I don't think I'd be too scared about it because I've done, you know, talking. I've done stand up. I've done, you know, I've talked in front of a stage, so I'm not uncomfortable talking to random people. But that one-on-one experience is something different because you have to connect with them. You have to, like, you know, not only hear what they say and respond to that.
Right. 2 years of door-to-door sales is equivalent to like a 4-year college.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard that before, but I would agree. You know, like I went to Sac State. I didn't make it 4 years. You know, after the third year, I did drop out, but I started a business after that just to get some real-world experience.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. I mean, that's all. College is really just like it's like after high school, it's trying to prepare you for the real world. It's trying to put you in real world experiences and stuff, but nothing beats the real world, you
Definitely. No, yeah, colleges train the future workforce. It's kind of like the military where they're like a recruiting based business.
Yeah.
Or like,
without a doubt, because it's they recruit you, and it's not even a promise that you can really do something after that. It's just like okay, we're gonna prepare you for this. We're gonna give you some resources, but there's no real guarantee that you can actually get it. I mean, yeah, there's certain paths and stuff that get you a certain, but nowadays it's so easy not to. Like you could get a job without the degree.
Definitely, right, definitely. And I've learned that having a degree, it really just allows you to apply for that job that the other people who didn't have the degree, they couldn't apply for.
Yeah.
You know, and I took some entrepreneurship classes and realized like once it wasn't like, once I found out that the teachers weren't entrepreneurs, you know, then that's what I felt like. It's not that I couldn't learn from them, but I'm like, I can only learn so much because there's just a small curriculum that I'm just being tested on, you know.
Without a doubt, that's the thing about teachers, right? they're really teaching you, but they're not doing it themselves. Like someone that's doing marketing at a university or sales.
Right.
Are you making those same amount of sales? Are you making that exact money that you're over here teaching us about? Or, but you still learn from it. You still learn from the information that's given to you.
Definitely, right. I wouldn't knock the experience overall, because even then, like at Sac State, even like I had a teacher who was one of the students in another class. So that that's a humble experience, because I was like, it's not that I can't learn from him, but he's my equal. He's my equal when we're in this class, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not that he doesn't have the information, but it's like, not even though that the class wasn't like small business, but it was a math class, you know, and he did have the knowledge to share the math class, but that just shifted my thinking, you know?
Yeah.
Where I was like, okay, you know? Like,
well, yeah, that's also like really cool to see that not only is he a teacher, he's still learning himself. So it might not be the same subject, you know, maybe he's just trying to expand his knowledge on a certain topic. But there is for sure those teachers that are unprepared for what the fuck they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
They're stressed. They're freaking running around trying to fucking figure it out, trying to teach 150 kids a day. So it's difficult. It's definitely a difficult job.
You're right, for sure. Just growing to grow, to like just learning how to grow into a leadership position, you know, and leadership boils down to having influence, you know. If you could think of one word that what it means to be a leader, you know, is to influence, you know. Okay. And it's not the same, but it's similar to how like we have those influencers, or even like the podcasters now, you know.
Yeah.
But to leverage some influence is to be able to lead, you know.
Well, yeah, like you were saying earlier, like being a father figure, you had to set that example for the younger generation. So that younger generation is going to pick up influences. If it's not from a person, it's going to be from these outside sources.
Surroundings, right.
Or, you know, maybe it's, you know, I mean, we all have our influences as a kid. You know, you have that uncle or that cousin that you kind of look up to, that brother, that, you know, dad, whoever is that figure in your life, multiple figures, matter of fact. But you connect with them, you know. Right. You see yourself in them, you want to be like them, so you start doing stuff. And like, yeah, like, you know, biggest thing is fatherhood. That's someone that's really looking up to you. So you got to set a good example to show them what to do.
Right. The whole point of me building a business, you know, because I'm learning that the wealth builders, you know, is a small business, you know, real estate. And I don't necessarily want to say just stocks, but stocks and or investing, you know. Mm-hmm. But the whole goal is to set our family up, you know, for a future, you know, like just for a secure financial future, you know, just to set our family up for life.
Speaking of family, you have a Curtail? Is that the connection?
Yeah, so Curtail Family. So this is a company united righteously through expressing loyalty to families, assemblies, and nations that love youth. So this is the umbrella, like, so you could think of it as a conglomerate, you know. It's a mastermind, right?
Okay.
So, but
that's the bigger idea.
There's a bigger idea, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But as far as the M's, like the music, merch, and marketing, you know, it's going to be music that we're going to eventually leverage some millions from. But this is the marketing, you know. The company that's united righteously, for one, is Dignified Marketing. That's one company, you know, but that's for the natural gas. That's how we generate weekly income, you know. That's pretty much the bread and butter. You know, we use the Dignified Marketing bag to fund the music and the merch. But Curtail Family, that's what it is. You know, it's music, merch, and marketing. But as far as a lifestyle, you know, when it says we're united righteously through expressing loyalty, you know, loyalty to who? You know, to families, assemblies, and nations that love youth. It gets a little deep, but just starting with my family, you know, I homeschool my children. You know, we're not all vegan, but we do strive to live an alkaline diet. So it is a lifestyle that's behind the music, you know.
Yeah.
And yep.
Well, that's dope to see that you're rapping about the stuff that you're actually doing. You're not rapping about, you know, other things. You're rapping about your businesses or your family. Definitely. Not necessarily your family too much, but like you bring up the family and you bring up the positive things about it.
Definitely.
Something I've seen that you guys do often is it's just live shows where you guys just go out in the middle of the street and start performing at a busy area.
Definitely. So shout out to Mr. Lewis, but he's known for being a street performer who's pushing a brand, you know?
Yeah.
And so rebuilding the culture is his brand, you know? And that's something that I'm invested into as far as like I've been supporting the brand from some time. But yeah, us adding value to that is to help get the right exposure that we need, you know?
How long have you guys been doing that for?
So myself, I've been street performing this is just going on my second year.
Okay.
You know, but Mr. Lewis, he's been doing it for over half a decade, you know, like he's been doing it for well over that.
Yeah, no, he's definitely like out there like
Right.
grinding. Like it's not a
It's not just a hobby for him.
yeah, it's not a hobby. It's not a what's it called? It's not a front. It's not a front.
Definitely.
He's
Right.
definitely just out there, and he's getting as much time in the game as possible.
He's built up sweat equity that you know, if there was something that was called a celebrity, he would be one of those, you know. Like if there was a local celebrity, he would be that.
Yeah. No, that's really dope. I mean, we got the chance to sit down with him, and I definitely learned a lot from that podcast. Like I didn't even think that podcast was actually gonna happen because it was just supposed to be the both of us, right?
Right.
And so when I showed up that day, you said, "Oh, let's pull up to Mr. Lewis's house." So I was like, "Okay." I knew him a little bit because of that time that we went to go
Did the show.
you did
That
the
was at
show,
the African market.
Yep. Right there by the African market, Mi Rancho, Florin area. And I was like, okay. I was kind of, hesitant because I was just scared to have more people in the podcast. I was more used to the one-on-one, but I was like, all right, let's do it. So we went over there, and then Coach shows up. So now
Right,
it's
he did
4
show
of
up.
us, and I was like, whoa, 4 people. I mean, 3, and then me. That's gonna be a hard podcast.
Right.
But we started talking, and we started conversating, and people really enjoyed it. A lot of people
right.
enjoyed it.
And starting to do some numbers.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach, but he's one of the label components as well.
Yeah.
So his brand, so the whole Pacific Sunrise Camp, you know, is his thing that Mr. Lewis and him are partnering up, you know. But that goes back to where it's like it's a conglomerate, you know, it's a mastermind, you know. We're taking small businesses and, you know, still having a bottom line that we're all leveraging value around, you know. It's not just about the money, but when we can, you know, dive into the group economics, you know, and that's one thing that Coach did kind of mention.
Yeah.
But when we can leverage the whole group economics, you know, then that's when we can learn to be self-sufficient and just circulate the money, you know.
So the Cartel family, is that your?
Yes,
That's
so-
all you.
So I'm the head of the Cartel family, but I will let you know, this was introduced to me. This crest was introduced to me. I did not make this crest myself.
Okay.
It was introduced to me by a brother named Young Game. He was one of the farm boys, you know, shout out to him. So yes, he introduced this crest to me, and he and I partnered up, you know, and the vision was casted, you know, and I've just continued adding value like day in, day out, you know.
Yeah.
So this is one of these things where I'm the head of the Cartel family, but I'm using marketing as a way to not just extend the opportunities, but to, you know, to really just get the message across and really to establish a civilized nation.
Definitely. That's dope that you have, so many areas where you're focusing on just growth. Just keep busy.
Right, I need it.
Keep something going. Even if something's not going, then something else is going.
Absolutely, right. This has been working for me as far as me being consistent for years, you know, for over half a decade. Ever since I've been doing music and ever since I've been just getting a rhythm of marketing, this has been a brand that I promote every day, you know.
And what was it about the logo that really that you liked about it?
Right. So for those that don't really know, I'm the son of a Panther, you know, so I do have a history with knowing the Black Panthers, you know.
Okay.
My father, you know, he initially met Huey Newton at CMC East, California Men's Colony, you know, that was behind the walls, of course. But anyways, so this stems from just like a cultural background. But I can say that this has an affiliation with Moors, Muslims, 5%ers, and the Panthers as well, you know. So it does get deep. But I kind of got lost with the original question. What was it that you connected with the logo? Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Boom. So again, the Panthers for one. When I was introduced to this logo, I resonated with the Panthers, you know, and then I gravitated towards it too because I wanted to know. I'm like, you know, that sea is dripping, you know, like what's going on with that? And I noticed there's roads, you know. I don't know if you can see it too well, but there's infrastructure in here.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, you know, there's barbed wire. There's also a rose at the bottom. There's women and children, you know. Once I was asking, like, as I got more excited about the logo, I found out, you know, there was 12 branches of it. And, you know, this kind of, in so many words, this portrays the 12 branches of the Cartel family. You know, there's a community government, but really the Panthers is what started and the infrastructure as well. on top of the gorilla, you know. So
What do you mean by the 12 branches?
so there's 12 branches. So the Curtel family, there's 12 branches of a community government.
Okay.
Branch number 1, for example, is the overseer commissioner.
Okay.
I mentioned that in one of my songs too, you know, overseeing, I be issuing delegation, hit the pavement. But I want to be careful. That's why I don't want to name all the branches. But yeah, so there's 12 branches.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's 12 branches. So it's like a position, or is it more
Yes.
of, okay, so it's a position inside of the family.
Definitely. Right. So
Okay.
the overseer commissioner, the second branch is the secretary of office.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
I see what you mean now. Okay. I thought it was more like,
my bad.
I thought it was more like 12, like, you know, you have the 12 jewels.
Right.
yeah.
No, you're right. Forgive me. Yeah. So the 12 jewels is definitely a jewel, are a set of jewels that everyone should possess. But the 12 branches is definitely is the 12 branches of the Curtel family. That's a community government. You know. Yes. You know.
So, you know, kind of bringing up the mathematics, when you,
Sure.
was that 12 kind of also like a nod to that, or was
Right.
it just
So what's crazy is
coincidence?
I've been introduced to the 5% Nation in the year 2021, you know, wisdom cipher, wisdom knowledge for those that do the math on that, you know. And with that, so yeah, I correlated these, you know, but because the person who introduced this crest to me was a Moor. He's a Moorish American, you know. I'm a 5%er. And so the lessons, you know, we are greater than the lessons, you know. But once I started to get introduced with the lessons, they did kind of coincide with some values that I already were living by, you know. But yeah, if that makes sense, the 12 jewels of the Curtel family is something that's more of like a internal, you know, thing where, you know, we can appoint these people that can do the job, you know, but they know that this is a part of, you know, I don't want to just say a mastermind, but, you know, we are a community that's united righteously to expressing loyalty, you know?
Yeah, it's a well, it's crazy because you said that it's 12. You had thought of the 12 branches before you really got into the like you knew what
Yes.
they were kind of like internally,
So I
but you
was
didn't
in-
know the
yep.
actual definition of them.
Of the 12 jewels?
Of the 12
Correct,
jewels.
yeah.
Okay.
The 12 jewels, a lot of us, like even in grade school, you know, like you'll see things on the wall, you know, like love, peace, happiness, you know. So those are several of the jewels. But even as we grow into adulthood, a lot of us don't really have a way to define or have a true meaning, you know, or something that we can identify, which is, you know, I want to say it's just sad, but it's like as we grow older, the average person, you ask what is love, you know, it'll be tough to define that. Or what is peace, you know, that'll be tough to define that.
Yeah. Well, definitely, like we hear these words and they kind of become unimportant, not really significant in the actual scheme of things. But then you start seeing what it meant to other people and to the past, what peace actually means, what happiness means, what love means, what you know, be smart. What does that mean? Like it means get knowledge, get that get that wisdom, and so. But it's just crazy to me because you know, I'm a big numbers person. You know, I've always loved numbers. So when you say something like, you know, you had that 12, the 12 branches, and then you had these feelings, and then all of a sudden there's 12 jewels that you could connect to. It's like, how does that even, like 12 and 12? Like, I don't know.
So yeah, I was introduced to the 12 jewels. My enlighteners, which we'll call him, but his name is his righteous. His righteous name is King Knowledge Born. You know.
Okay.
But I don't want to say his name out of respect for that. But
no doubt.
but no. So he introduced to me the 12 jewels, and like we broke down the meanings and the definition and how we saw it. You know. So building, like just how we're building now, that would be like somebody asking you. You know, like for one, like. One of the 12 jewels would be knowledge, you know. It would be like, what does that mean? How do you see that, you know? And building on that would help us to gain more of an understanding or, you know, overstanding. But yeah, he introduced those 12 jewels to me, and he let it be known, like the way I'm moving is already righteous, you know, but these are like a set of principles that help you to navigate through life. And sure enough, like, you know, they have.
Definitely. You know? It's something that is very important for people. I think that we live by a certain rule set. Like, you know, you make your own rules at times, but at the end of the day, you still live by a moral code. That's more what it's like. It's not so much a rule set. It's just a moral code of being true to yourself. You know, no matter what it is. You know, for you being the 12 steps, the 12 jewels. Other people, it could be, you know, the Bible, other people, you know, the Quran. It's different things that they live by, you know, the 10 Commandments, all that stuff.
I found to get myself in trouble unintentionally though, but because you know those things are some of the touchiest things to talk about. You know,
Without a doubt.
like when it comes to religion or sex or politics or sports, even you know, like people really live and die. You know, just about what they believe in.
Definitely,
So,
definitely. Yeah, I had a. I was just thinking about this. I was talking to my girlfriend that we had a friend. We had a friend. He's a Raiders fan, so I kind of connected with him.
Shout out to the nation.
Yeah, shout out Raider Nation. And then like a lot of my friends though, they're Niners fans.
Niner gang, bang bang, Niner gang.
So they were going back and forth. You know, it was like that time where they were both kind of iffy. Like they both weren't that good. So they were actually kind of competing. And so they had got into an argument about the teams, and it became personal to the point where like they literally just stopped becoming friends. I wasn't really close with the dude. Like I kind of knew him through them. So when they told me that, I was like, damn, it's never that serious, man.
Right. It's that animosity, you know?
Yeah.
It's that passion that comes behind it. I definitely get it.
Well, it's definitely like, sometimes it feels like it's like if that something like that triggers something off, then it must have been feelings that were before, like, you know, past animosity that was building up. It wasn't just that thing that happened. Because come on, sports, a religion. I mean, for some people, religion does get deep. We get, you know, some people really do believe in it, but it shouldn't get to the point where you hate someone or you completely cut that person off just because they don't align with the same views as you.
Definitely. No, you're right. And it's funny you say that. I find myself, I don't even go to get in trouble, but I do ruffle feathers, you know, because I'm bold in the way that I do express my knowledge or just my belief system. But I do my best to get better at that because it gets real, you know, for me. Like I've had to cut people off, even relatives, just because we don't align, you know, like the values don't align. And when the opposite energy is becoming too thick to where it's like when you're, you know, it's bleeding over into other people, I have to step in and just protect, you know. But I'm learning that too. Like, you know, me being the one to help a lot of people, sometimes I do help people. I ain't gonna say that don't deserve it, but I'm just too helpful to where sometimes, you know, if I'm not careful of who I give my energy to, you know, I'll be robbed of the good energy to where it's, you know, it can be draining, you know.
For sure. So. It always sounds like crazy when you talk about energy and the spiritual, but it's definitely true. Like you feel a certain energy when you're with other people that you really enjoy being with, and you actually feel like okay, there's growth happening here. There's you know, constant. We're working on something, or we're doing something to further ourselves. But then there's those times when you connect with other people where you're like, damn, what are we doing? We're just being negative. We're just, you know, hating on stuff. So it's definitely a feeling that you get.
Have you ever heard the saying that energy is currency?
No.
Energy is currency.
Currency in what?
So, well, now like we have the almighty dollar, you know, as a legal debt tender. As a legal debt tender. But for example, like as currency, you know how, for instance, like energy being currency, there's some people who have a sense of like the success you can smell on them, right? Their aura is like magnetic, and it's like their charm and their charisma is on point to where you almost want to just add value in any way, you know, even if it was monetarily or just you sense and where it's like, man, their energy is vibrating in a way where it's like, you know, it's like, man, you know, like
you walk into the room and you're already like, what's up with that guy? Why is he so, like, why is everyone kind of looking at him? Why is everyone kind of feeling him?
So, the currency can really mean value though, you know, not to say like energy is just money, but energy is currency as far as value, you know, and like high value, you get to feel that from people when you get around them and feel their energy, you know?
Definitely. It's, you know, that saying that, you know, you become who you hang out with, right? Definitely. Who you hang around with, who your friends are. So if you want to become successful, you got to be around successful people.
Definitely.
It's definitely an energy, you know, and it's also just knowledge that you pick up from them as well.
For sure.
You know, you hear somebody say something, and well, to get back to that energy, sorry, that energy, you kind of feel it sometimes with even someone that's not even like they might not even have money, or they might not have this a lot of power, but for some reason when they walk in, they just have that aura. It could be someone who just walks in with some street clothes, some dirty clothes, but they like have this way of walking, this way of like transmitting an energy to other people.
Definitely, right. That's how you're around high vibrational people,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that the others are low vibrational, but it just means when people operate on that frequency,
Mm-hmm.
if you're listening or paying attention, you can definitely learn from that, because that aura can get you things that you want,
Yeah.
And
If you allow it to. If you
for
allow
sure.
it to.
Right. I mean, you have to develop that aura too, as far as like you can't fake it, like
Mm-hmm.
when it's something that's magnetic, then if you're drawn to it, you're going to want to know more, and then once you learn about the lifestyle, or once you learn about the habits that had to be built,
Mm-hmm.
you start to gain a respect, because it's like you almost have to carry yourself in a way, like,
Well, yeah, being, it's just being self-righteous. No matter what you are, no matter who you are, no matter what your attitude is, just be who you think you are. Don't be a dickhead. Don't be, freaking pushing people out of nowhere and stuff. But, uh, you know, just be who you are, and don't try to put on an act for everyone so that they could accept or like you, pretty much.
No, you're right, absolutely. My energy comes off really passionate. I'm learning too, I'm not too big into zodiacs, but a lot of people that find out my birthday is a week before Halloween, they're like, "Oh, you're a Scorpio," like I need to stay away from you, or something like that. But I'm learning that like my passion or my ambition, it sometimes it gets in the way of the blessing of, or just the energy, like the positive, like, I don't want to say I'm a gentle giant, but it's more of like, I just be, I'm passionate. I'm so on fire with life,
Yeah.
I'm growing into living my best life,
Well, it's when you just let life itself.
Right.
You don't try to control the life. You just keep going with the stuff that you can control, the work that you put in, and then you let life bring whatever it's gonna bring to you.
Definitely right. At this point in life, I'm learning that I can only control how I react to things, and I can control my destiny, or just the outcome of, or, I can just put in the work and generate the results that I see fit, the things that I'm striving for.
Yeah, definitely learning how to react well to things. It takes you so far in life, because the way you react to it is pretty much gonna determine the outcome of that scenario.
Right.
I heard a quote the other day. I've been trying to like generate quotes for myself, just kind of like get one off the internet, try to just get a quote a day.
Right.
And so one day it was that, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was saying life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how you react.
I definitely agree. Right. I definitely agree.
Yeah, because someone can do something or someone can say something, and that scenario can play out in so many different ways depending on how you react to it. Someone could say "What's up" to you, and you say, "Oh, what's up, man?" Or you could be like, "What you trying to say? What you trying to pull up something, or you trying to like, what's up? Like, hey, whoa, get away from me." It's different ways to react to it.
Now you're right, for sure. I'm getting better. Like, by me being in a leadership space, and by that I mean like my day to day. I'm learning to adjust my leadership approach. I'm learning that you're not going to be able to influence everybody, but to at least generate a positive influence. And transmit that in a way where it is received. But doing that with people on different levels. You're not going to be able to reach people. You're not going to be able to reach everybody. And certain people you reach is going to be at different levels. So I'm learning that where in my journey, I'm striving to use this positive energy to influence everybody around me. So.
It definitely, as a leader too, it seems like that's like 100% of your day just reacting to what people are telling you and what's coming at you, and you have to react and see what's best for the business, for the team, for whatever's going on.
Right. I've made it off the field in my line of business, but I still knock the doors when I'm training or just showing the ropes. And I do enjoy that, because I still get that little bit of anxiety. I still get pushed out of my comfort zone at the doors because I don't know who's on that other side,
Yeah.
And,
Well, that's definitely powerful to say, because you gotta, like, you would think that, after 2 years, after 3 years, you're already, it's just a door. It's just someone I'm talking to. But no, it's almost a passion because you're getting to talk to someone, you're getting to interact with someone, you're getting to know someone's story. Who you don't know who the hell's behind the door. It could be a multimillionaire, or it could be a fucking a crack addict who's just shooting up or something. Like, it could be anybody behind that door, and so that anxiety is always gonna be there. There's no like, oh shit, and I think it's for someone that's great at something is always going to have that anxiety.
For sure.
Because they're in fear of the worst that's going to happen. But then they also know that the best can happen as well.
I strive to lean on that optimism. I always think like maybe there is that next business partner who's behind that door. In my line of business, we want more partnerships, and even if they're not a millionaire yet, maybe we can scale some millions together,
Exactly.
And hopefully, we don't run into that addict, that's doing it unless it's a success addict, or somebody,
Yeah.
type of thing. But
it might be you
never know,
Yeah.
You never know.
He's I don't know why I said he. I don't know, man. It's already the middle of the week. Feels crazy, right? The days just go by. It's already halfway through January.
Right, we're halfway through the first month of the year already.
What is your first goals in entering a new year?
The first goals entering a new year is to develop develop or to refine the new positive habits, like is to just build on the good habits, and still destroy bad habits. Every new year I strive to destroy all bad habits, or at least just minimize the habits to where the good outweighs the bad, and there's a balance.
Yeah,
for sure. But more specifically, food, clothing, shelter. It's gonna boil down to It's going to always boil down to a few of those jewels, if not some of them, then at least one of them. But food, clothing, shelter, definitely every New Year's, those are the main 3 priorities, and then we accommodate our lifestyle, strive to live below our means, but make sure we get the things that we need. And as time goes, we can, just question, hey, is this a need or a want? Can we afford this want? Okay, let's make a decision,
That's definitely something I've had to work on coming into the new year, is being able to say no to certain, urges or desires that you want. You see you see a brand new game, you see a brand new control, you see, sometimes I see a brand new mic, I'm like, damn, I got a few extra bucks to spare. But it's like, do I really need that? Do I really need that right now? Like, in the bigger picture of things, is that something that's gonna, progress me to whatever goal I'm trying to reach? But of course, there is those necessities. You gotta have food, but what food to buy, where to go. You could just go to Walmart, but then you go to like a Food Max and it's like 50% off or something.
Right.
So it's knowing what you're spending it on and going from there, budgeting with that.
No, you're right. For those that can't tell from my energy, sometimes I like to tell people like I have an addictive personality, not like junkie vibes, but it's like I have that sense of like I have the sense of urgency. For sure. But I strive to use that in a good way too, to where I'm like, I get excited when I'm going to meet somebody new, or even then it's like if I'm pushed out of my comfort zone, I know that I'm putting myself in a position for a blessing, like me being uncomfortable, I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to gain some new information. My mind might get stretched, even further, or even then I'll experience something now that I can add under my belt, Okay. So
definitely I definitely feel that addictive personality trait myself, because I'll latch onto something and I want to do that all the time. That's why I can't do games as much anymore, because that's how I would, first of all, burn myself out with the game. Right. I wouldn't like the game after like 2 days, but I spend all my time on that. Like, I had to focus on that. That's all my energy. Like, if I get into that, same with whatever the hell I'm getting into. If I'm doing music, I'm 100% into music. If I'm into podcasting, I'm 100% into podcasting. Right. But I've had to learn to scale that back and give it my 50%, give it my 40% every single day, instead of just giving my 100% for 2-3 days, right, and then burning myself out. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do that shit no more. Right. It's staying with that passion.
How long have you been doing music?
So I've been I've mostly been producing, mixing a little bit,
so with you're an engineer too.
Yeah, and so doing it with my friends, just helping them record. But I've always had like a love for music, right. Growing up, hearing music, it was like the biggest thing to me. It was like it didn't feel real sometimes. Like, how can someone create this? Like, you see a movie, you're like, okay, he put that there, he put this here. You see a video, but then you hear something, you're like, what the fuck? This doesn't even feel like it's from this universe.
I feel you, man.
So, I think when I really started like getting into it was probably around my high school years. You know, just dabbling here and there, trying to like rap here and there, like little freestyles and stuff.
Rap is your genre?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I think that's the main category, but I don't, because I'm working on an album right now. You know, a little sneak peek for people listening. Okay. I'm trying to work on an album right now, so I don't want it to just be rap. I want it to be, you know, my favorite, all my stuff, but for it to make sense and for it to have like a feeling to that album.
Definitely, no, you're
you
right.
know, a story,
right?
To per se.
Yeah, music has a lot to do with feeling too. So definitely, if that's a way for you to showcase your talent, you know, and then get your story out.
Definitely, you know? And just being around, you know, you guys being around, you know, shout out to the guy in the back, my boy Jiren.
Yeah, shout out to Jiren.
You guys don't see him, but he's over there. Yeah.
That's how I met you, by the way. Yeah, I met you through Jiren.
Yeah. Shout out Jiren. Literally, he's the one that put us connected.
Yes, sir.
Just being around the creative, and it's like, what do I really want to do? And I kept thinking to myself, oh, I want to do acting, I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to. But it's like, what do I really want to do? And I would rationalize myself sometimes. I'd be like, well, I can't do music because I'm not this hard person. I'm not this person that's gonna be talking about drilling and all that stuff. So I kept rationalizing, no, I can't do it. But then I just thought to myself, I was like, well, I've been reading a lot, and I've been, philosophizing a little bit, and I'm just like, who the fuck is going to tell me I can't do it? Who's telling me that I can't do it? If I have the confidence to do it, then I know that I can do it. If I can pick something else up, then I can learn that just as well. You know, if I could become the best, because whenever I would go to a new job, I'd always strive to be the best at whatever the hell I was doing.
Got you.
And so I was like, if I can do that with someone else's dream, then I could do that with my own dreams. There's no reason for me to rationalize what I could do. I could do this shit if I really put my mind to it. And so that's when I was like, okay, let me sit down. Let me think about what I'm actually doing. Let me plan this shit out, plan out what I'm going to do, and then I'll progress from there. You know, I'm not going to dwell too much on the plan, because that's where I've noticed my downfall as well, is when I just try to plan it out too much, trying to like make it perfect instead of just doing it.
Just getting it out.
Just the action.
You're right. I've accepted that people are going to talk about you whether you do or don't, you know. And as long as you're doing it with the intention of making yourself happy, or just putting a goal, you know, or just setting a goal out there and putting a message out, you know, you should definitely go for it, for sure.
Definitely. And it's something like, you know, it's already kind of in my lane, you know. I'm a podcaster, so talking is, you know, pretty much 80% of my day, or, you know, that's what 80% of what I'm thinking about. So, you know, why not put it onto a beat? Why not make it something that I enjoy? Because right now, if I'm being honest, I don't like a lot of music, because, you know, besides the people that are really doing it, like you guys,
shout out.
People that are putting the grind in, it's like, it feels like everything is just like, oh, here's this. I hope you guys, like, I'm trying to pander to you guys. I'm trying to give something out to you guys. It's not something that's like really genuine and something that's created.
No, this is a lifestyle for us. That's why it goes back into, that's why I say I'm being careful when I mention the brand, because you are supposed to keep your business, you know, and your personal, you know, separate, but it's like I'm living a lifestyle where it's like it's one and the same, you know. So I have to find that balance. But when I say the music and the merch and the marketing are the 3 M's that I leverage, that's the lifestyle I'm leveraging between these 3, you know. It's not a hobby, you know. It's not a hobby, and I got multiple dependents that do rely on a dignified payout, you know.
Definitely, man. It's living out your own dreams, but knowing where the hell you are in life, knowing the expectations that are expected of you, and plan accordingly.
Right,
you know,
for sure.
Plan accordingly. But that's definitely something that we all had to work on. You know, every single day. That's the biggest struggle, is showing up every single day. Because there's no breaks. There's no weekends when you're trying to do this yourself. There's no, oh, okay, I'm gonna work this whole week and then I got the weekend off. No, that's not how it works. You got to use every single one of those days. If not to, you know, if you're not leveraging that last day, you know, you could rest that last day. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, you know, spending time with the family on the Sunday and everything. But if you're not grinding and thinking about what's the next move,
for sure,
then you're gonna find yourself like, oh shit, where do I go? Where do I go from here?
We got the same 24 hours. And of course, you know, when people say time management, it's like one of those cliche things because you don't really manage time. But, you know, when you can maximize your efficiency, you know, or just maximize your productivity, that's when you know, like, you can get ahead in life, you know, taking advantage of the 24 hours, but doing it the productive way, you know.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Are both of them good? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, definitely. It's what was the last sentence?
So having 24 hours in a day and just taking advantage, like not really managing time because you can't manage time, but maximizing your efficiency. You know, the point I was making is, you know, being busy isn't so much that important, more so just being productive. You know,
without a doubt, it's not like you were saying, managing that time and not burning yourself out with, you know, if you're working on something for 4 or 5 hours, your brain is just going to shut down after a while. You're not giving it your 100%. Yeah, you might be working your skills. You might be working those habits, but your brain is not actually picking up the correct ways. You know,
Right.
you're just building up on kind of bad habits. You know, if you, let's say you train boxing 6 hours a day, you have to break up those hours or else you're going to be training good for 3 hours. And then those last 3 hours, you might just be half-assing those punches, half-assing those kicks, whatever you're doing, and you're not actually gaining the what is it, the not the instincts, but the muscle memory, because
Through repetition.
through repetition, you're just building bad bad habits, and that's, like I said, something that we all have to work on, just time management of the whole day.
Right, for sure. Taking advantage of having 24 hours, you know, and I get that. I like how you gave an example of the athletics, you know, because there's some people who are built like a machine, you know, where like they get rest, but they really go 7 days, or, you know, they have like a rigorous schedule. But whatever your career choice is, you know, or actually like your real lifestyle is, I definitely do know that, you know, once you start to build a habit of being consistent, you'll start to get a return on that investment, you know.
What does your day look like?
That's a great question. So, okay, when I wake up, I'm an early bird too, so I wake up before a majority of the people. But I get on a highborn hype. So really, I'll drink some tea. Like as of right now, during this season mainly, I drink some tea with honey, with raw honey.
So let's say you're waking up like 4 or 5.
Depends.
6?
Sometimes 3, sometimes 5. But sometimes I'll just be up, you know.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a typical rising for me is I wake up and put something healthy in my system. It'll be some tea with honey, and then sometimes I know I'm the smoothie king, so I'll drink smoothies year round. But if not a smoothie, then some tea with honey, and then I start doing push-ups. You know, I'm striving to graduate from these little shrimp noodles. You know?
Hey man, well that's what we're all trying to do. You know?
But I'll definitely bust out a set of some push-ups. On one of the company chats, you know, I do post it every morning, so it's like when I say I get on the highborn hype, I show and prove. You know, I wake up and get right physically and mentally. But you know, I get the blood oxidation levels going. You know, and then from there, I've got 3 daughters, so if one of my girls are up, because sometimes I have, you know, their sleep schedules are different, so I might wake up to one of them to where I'll still get my issue in, but then I'll strive to tire them out, or, you know, if it's just me, then I'll start getting in my studies after I do a workout and get my tea. That's the typical morning. But if my daughters are awake, then normally I'll either tire them, you know, I'll get them involved in an activity. But my firstborn, she's 6 now. She's a first grader. So, you know, at 8:45, she starts her homeschooling session.
Okay.
So no matter what time I wake up, I strive to be as productive as I can until it's time to get her ready for her class.
So when do you go into? So do you guys have an office, or is it more at home?
Yeah.
Just
So
phone calls.
for you're talking about for business?
For your business.
Oh yeah,
yes.
so no, yeah. So this quarter, this year, we're planning to open up an office space. We're looking in either the Roseville area or the Greater Sacramento area.
Okay.
But we do have like a we have like just like separate meeting locations, you know.
Okay.
But if we're not meeting in Roseville, there's like a conference room where we do have meetings. But we'll like meet at a Starbucks or a Jamba Juice and have like an orientation, or, you know, even like hire somebody even, you know. But for the most part, we'll meet up with, I'm out of the field, so, but normally like one of the team leads, they'll go and pick up the rest of the guys, you know, and they'll carpool to territories. But my typical day, I'll be on phone calls, if I'm not training somebody, like I'll still get out in the field and show a few doors. But my job mainly is to deal with the back end as far as just to help scale the business, deal with recruiting. And then, literally, if I'm not on phone calls, then I'll literally be building with the team. I'll either be a part of some meetings or, I'll be showing a recruit a door, or if the team goes on trips and excursions, I'm definitely there. I'm still adding value in some way.
Definitely. It's being a leader and like not,
For sure.
you're not, out there day to day, but you're making everything happen behind the scenes.
Definitely. But I'm still working daily, as far as like 7 days.
So you're answering phone calls from the morning to the moment you go to sleep.
So not necessarily, like I have to compartmentalize. So it'd be like, okay, in the morning when I wake up and I get right, I'll drink my tea, I'll do my workout, and then I'll reach out to the guys. I'm usually the first person to respond on the chat. I'm usually the first person to greet my team. Okay. Peace and blessings is a formal greeting I greet everybody with. But I usually do that. I reach out to my family, my mother, father, siblings, my core, my core people who I'm talking to on a regular. But the phone calls, I'll normally either get like, if I already have my week set up, then, it'd be like, let's say like, for instance, like today, I didn't answer your call, forgive me. I did get, but it'd be like one of those things where I'll reach out to you first. Like, hey man, are we still on schedule? So I'll look at my daily schedule and make sure if I got any meetings, if I got studio sessions, or if we have the street performance, if we're mastering the stranger, we call those jam sessions, So I'll start checking my calendar. I'll reach out to, all my immediate people. And then from there, I'll either text message or a phone call usually come in from there too, where if my partner, okay, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, you're good. No, I was just fixing my mic.
Whenever I get up and post, like this is the thing too, like my partner, he's an early bird too. Like he'll be posting his workout, or it'll be one of those things where as soon as we message each other, boom, we're already building. We're either getting done with a workout in the middle of a workout, or we're following up, We're just measuring and improving, we're catching each other up and giving each other the updates.
So from 8:30, from 8 pretty much to 8 to like 3 or 4 year homeschooling.
So no, 8:45 is when my daughter starts her session. She's done around like noon. She's done around lunchtime, like 12 to 1.
Okay.
But we'll like her outdoor time would be leveraged between, we'll either go somewhere, go to a park, a library,
Okay.
or we'll do some physical outdoor activity or play catch, she shoot hoops,
Yeah.
But so from 8:45 would be one of her sessions. Then there'll be another one at 9:05. That'll be a starting one. Okay. So it's like she has little like breaks in between her school day. But so from 8:45 to 12, that's when we're focusing on schooling. And she has a 4-year-old sister who's not in school yet, but we're getting her started. We'll have her sit in on some of the things. We'll engage with her. But I'm normally just locked in on the academics from 8:45 until about noon.
Okay.
And then we'll do lunch as a family, or if I do have like a prearranged meeting, then I'll go, but we'll accommodate the day, I'll speak with the wife and we'll structure that.
So it's morning time, and then what's your afternoons looking like?
That's a great question.
Business meetings, just
correct
every day?
Yep. So if I'm not with the recruit or helping or just negotiating a contract or issuing a contract for somebody, I'm looking to talk to people who got teams, or I'll promote the business. I talk about the website. We have a hiring bonus. If I'm not talking to somebody who either has a team or at least is looking for an opportunity, I'll probably be out networking. I'll either be at the doors or I'll go to like high traffic areas. Before I was doing the natural gas thing, I would be set up at high traffic areas, and just drawing in crowds, and just networking. But normally, the typical afternoon is me literally out networking. If I'm not, if I'm training somebody who's new, I'll show them the doors for like a few hours, or I'll just connect them with one of our, with one of our hitters, But or I'll be somewhere on a phone call. I travel a lot as well too, so like I'll be going to different cities. Like I'll go to different cities and literally, we oversee. We just, we oversee, definitely. Scout territories and look to corner the market.
Definitely, that's something that first of all, I applaud you for just standing out there and finding networking, just getting out into a high busy area. That's something that I've been wanting to do myself. Is just go up to people and be like, hey man, you want to hear a podcast? Here's a podcast.
Right.
Here's a music. Here's whatever. Because we've lost that where people don't need to go up to people to advertise anymore. You get Instagram ads, you get Facebook ads, you get TikTok ads, right. That's what majority of the people are doing. But when that becomes so oversaturated, you have to find a way to, right. Not relinquish yourself, but, distinguish yourself.
Right now,
Distinguish yourself.
there definitely is a bag though in the social media world, that people should be taking advantage of. But I will say too, there's nothing like letting the core supporters, I don't even want to say fans, but the core people that support you get a sense of who you really are, And that's separate than just being an artist, Yeah, you can rap tight or have a way with words, but people want to know the real you. So, and I think with me, I'm getting in the rhythm of mastering the stranger, having jam sessions. I'm out here shaking hands and kissing babies,
Yeah, it's being comfortable with people, because it's easy to hide behind that screen. I mean, I'm not trying to look down on it or anything. I'm not saying that that's not something that we should all use, because that's literally what's popping right now. That's the future of everything. But it's also, like I said, distinguishing yourself with other things,
Right.
Going out, meeting people, having billboards, having something, having a poster somewhere. So it's definitely, trying to just get your name out, pretty much.
For sure, right. I'm learning about your brand is going to be the feeling that it gives, like when people see your brand, there should be a feeling attached to it. But when it just comes to marketing and advertising, your business or your brand will succeed or fail based around the amount of exposure it gets, And when it comes to exposure, you want to get, positive exposure,
Yeah.
You don't want to be famous for the wrong thing,
Definitely,
So,
definitely. Yeah,
right.
there's people always gonna look for that fame, look for that,
Right.
that easy fame, and just get popular with people. But do those people ever last? Like, do they really?
No, right, yeah.
Like, the biggest people in the world are just people who don't give a fuck about what anybody else thinks, and just does themselves and does whatever the hell
Right.
they're
You're
gonna
right.
do.
Slow and steady wins the race, right? If normally the people that don't have a plan of longevity, or at least have real mentors, or just have a solid system of leadership that they can lean on, it normally doesn't last for reals.
Definitely, that slow and steady wins the race. It's so oversaturated, oversat by everybody, but it's really it's a reason that it's around for so long, because that's so true. And it's and it goes back to that old tale, the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah,
We've all heard it as a kid, and we thought it was just it's a rabbit. It's kind of ironic that the rabbit lost and stuff. But then you look at the deeper meaning of it, and you're like, wait. That's what life is. That's you trying to he's over here running to the finish, but he gets distracted by other things. He thinks, oh, I got time.
right.
And then
Joking.
by the end of it, turtle's crossing the line.
Right.
So it's it's that steady, and it's and it's actually kind of weird, because you see that in a lot of children's stories. There's a deeper
Right.
meaning behind them. You're kind of like, oh, okay, there's a message behind what's actually going on.
Right. The message I get is being consistent, just the steady. Like the turtle is slow, but it's steady. I used to tell people I'm a little slow. I'm like molasses, I'm slow, I'm not really slow, but like it might take me a little while to get it, but trust me, I'm gonna get it. And I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win.
Definitely, that's a. Sorry, you said that I'm not slow enough.
I'm like molasses, yeah.
No, definitely. I was just stuck on that little moment, but definitely it's a what is it? Not a virtue, but it's a characteristic that you need to be successful. There's no one that is successful that's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this for a short amount of time. I'm gonna do my best at it. And then if it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna leave it.
Right.
It's someone that who's gonna suck at first, really suck, and then get a little bit better. Okay, you're getting a little bit better, and then you start building those habits, like you said, building those healthy habits, and that's
Yeah.
that's the way to go.
They say success is not built in a day, but it's built daily, and that really goes back into the put in that grind. You're going to get a return on that investment. If there's no shortcuts, if you striving to cut corners or take the escalator, you're going to be in for a rude awakening,
Yeah, you got to be ready for that journey that's coming.
Right. You got to take the steps.
Yeah. When we get in the album.
Right. That's a great question. So really, by the end of this quarter, so I want to say by March, right?
Okay.
It's going to be an EP though. It's going to be an EP.
Okay.
Exclusively produced by Young Echo. Shout out to Young Echo.
Is he out of Sacramento?
He's out of Fresno, California.
Okay.
He's the hottest producer.
I think I've heard of him. Yeah, for sure. I've heard of Young Echo. Yeah.
He's produced a lot of beats for EBK, the song Boogeyman by EBK Jago, by EBK J-Bo,
Yeah,
yep.
it is J-Bo.
That song had charted. So
Yeah, that
yep.
one was huge. It was everywhere. It was that little that little snippet that was going off on
Right,
TikTok
for
and
sure.
stuff.
Right.
That's hard. That's a hard ass beat too. He got
Sure,
some
yeah.
good beats. Then if that's one of his beats, because that's one of those beats that you like. Ooh, you start bumping
He's young,
it.
right? He's young and he's got a sound for that quality.
That's
For
dope.
sure. Yeah, shout out to him. But yeah, so this project is called Still Confused About Money, you know. It's 5 songs, it's a 5-song EP. And then I do plan to drop an album after that.
Okay.
But this would be my first initial project for reals. But I
So
do
those other songs that you had were just singles.
Yes, correct, for sure. Yep. Yep. This song all of these songs specifically kind of tell the last several years of my life, you know. I don't say years, but like year or two, you know, like it's just a journey, you know.
Definitely.
But yeah, most definitely.
That's dope, man. It's nice to see you know, just stuff coming out. You know, just work, and you know, this might be the first one, but it's not gonna be the last at all.
Sure.
It's gonna be so many more, and it's gonna be it's a journey, man. Right?
Definitely. I'm accepting though that my life is kind of like a movie, you know, and there's people that just want to know the real me, or they want to hear the story, you know, they want to know what I really know, or know how I'm really living, you know.
Were you always like a social person? Were you always, you know, attracted to that conversation?
Yeah, so I was like, as a kid, I was social. I probably did go through a phase where I would like put it out there like I'm antisocial or a little weird, but you know, there's like that growing phase where you're still figuring things out where,
Definitely.
you know, but no, I've always been social. Like I've always been like a floater, you know, like when I was younger, I used to hang around the older crowd, or if there was younger kids, you know, I would end up being like one of the leaders. You know, if we played football, I would be the quarterback, or you know, things like that. You know, but
Definitely. I mean, I'm guessing they had to look up to you most of the time. You were probably tall as a kid.
but really not that tall. Like
Not
as
that
a
tall.
kid, I wouldn't say like too much taller than the other kids, but people knew I was gonna be tall. But yeah, I caught a growth spurt later in life, but I wasn't like showing super heavy signs early on, you know.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that growth spurt myself.
For sure.
No, but definitely that's that's kind of how I felt too a little bit. Just like being around like older kids, I felt a little bit more comfortable. Just kind of like listening to what they had to say, like kind of learning from them, and then
Right.
bring it into my side of you know, like the younger kids. But so you grew up in Fresno area.
Fresno, yep, the Central Valley. Shout out.
What is that like? What is that normal day of school look like?
Well,
Was it bad? Because I know, I mean, I've heard of Fresno. You know, it's bad, but is
Right.
it really like? Is it more in like certain communities, certain
right, no.
areas?
So I'm gonna be honest. I had a fun childhood. Like, you know, I enjoyed my youth. Just as you get older, and then the more you realize, you know, you sometimes get used to things that you know aren't really normal. You know, but coming up though, like my typical day, for instance, like we used to have a lot of the foggy days too. Like around this time, like we'd have the foggy day schedules, so we would go to school late. You know, but I went to school out in the country, you know, so like yeah, so like Fresno, yes, I went to school out in the country for the most part, but a typical day would be like, you know, like we watching like, I don't know what the cartoon would be, like Arthur, or
Yeah.
you know, like something,
Some
but there would be
PBS
like
kids.
but it'd be like a fog, like it'd be the foggy day schedule where we're waiting to see if it's a plan A, B, C, or if we're not going, you know.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
just so around this time, that's what I could think of, you know. I'm getting a little older now, you know, I'm 31. But yeah, a typical day would be like, you know, just waiting to go. I used to love school, so you know, I ain't gonna lie, school was where I get to socialize and, you know,
Yeah.
make my friends, you know. But yep, I definitely would look forward to just going to school. I ain't gonna lie, you know, a lot of people say those lunches are nasty, which, you know, some of them were, but I used to look forward to eating that nasty school lunch, you know, like if somebody didn't want theirs, I'm taking theirs, you know. But so I have fun coming up to be all the way honest with you, you know.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I
for
enjoyed
sure.
my youth as a kid.
That's you know, that's something that you kind of you do as a kid. Like you don't really notice the area that you're in as much when you're younger. You kind of like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, there's some people sleeping on the street, or there's, you know, whatever the hell's around you.
Right.
You don't really notice it because you just in the world of being a kid, and you're in the world of your friend group and what's gonna happen at school. You're not worried about, you know, what the hell is going on around you.
Right,
But
for
then as
sure.
you get older, you become more aware of what's around. You look at, you know, oh shit, what the fuck? That's always been there. That's crazy. I've been around that my whole life, and I don't even notice that.
For sure. I will say, like, Fresno's always had a gang culture, so there's always been gangs, you know?
Yeah.
I've got family members from just about every side.
Yeah.
But I was a floater. I stayed away from that, you know? Like, if I had Mexican friends that, like, went in the fields even and picked, I went with them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I would pick grapes with my Mexican friends. The Asians, you know, I had a Indian friend, you know, shout out to Suk Beer. He became one of my best friends in high school too, where he taught me just so much about culture. But he's an Indian dude, you know. And like he just I soaked up a lot of game from him, you know. And he put me on like the vegetarian lifestyle, you know. He would always bring these sandwiches. I was full of a bunch of healthy stuff, and I would take his sandwiches, you know, like not take them, but I'd be like, bro, like, man, let me try this, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And well, yeah, it's like being not influenced, but like you're giving something, you're giving something, and now you're like exposed to their world almost. It's like their whole their culture. You know, being one of my best friends growing up, he was Asian, and he would put me onto these foods that I never even had thought about as a kid. You just think of, you know, this and that, but then you introduced to this soup and to this and to that, and you're like, what the fuck? My whole world is different now.
Right. Yeah. Like, where have I been this whole time?
Yeah.
Right.
It starts making you think that. And so I'm pretty much guessing Fresno's a very diverse.
Definitely, right.
Diverse,
Definitely. They got a
neighborhood.
huge Hmong community, a Armenian community. It's a melting pot. Like, you got every nationality, like just about everything, for sure.
Yeah. Dang. Well, I don't think I've been to I've been close to Fresno, not exactly in Fresno. Have you heard of Hanford?
Hanford, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Hanford is like the neighbor. It's like
Yeah,
a neighbor.
I was when I was doing construction, we actually built I don't remember if it was a Dollar Tree or what it was. It might have been a Walgreens or something, but we built something over there, and I remember like it was so different than what I had seen before because it was just like in the middle of fields, in the middle of like you're in like first you're in the middle of fields, and then all of a sudden there's a big old town around you.
For sure, right. Yep, that's the Central Valley, you know. Yep.
Yeah.
When you're surrounded by mountains, when you even look around too, it's like, then you know.
Yeah.
This is what it is, you know. It's like a dust bowl, though, for sure.
Is it really the
Not to make it sound bad, but it's like the type of environment, though, you know, like it's just it's just one of those things where
it's just the air, the
about to
air
say, yeah,
gets
the
a
air is
little
different,
thicker.
right?
Yeah.
The air, but even then, like when it gets hot, sometimes too, it's different. Like the air is like severe, you know, like sometimes it's torturous, like, you know, not every time, but it's like it's different when you're in the valley. That valley heat is different, you know, like.
Okay.
But
yeah. No, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, no, not just the heat, but yes, the winds have. One time, I was on the top of a scaffolding, like this huge scaffolding, and I was like carrying something, and then a gust of wind hit me, and I was about to tip over and
Right.
like fall, like pretty much over the building, and I I literally like my life flashed before my eyes. I was like, oh no, I'm going down, and then I was like, oh, thank God I saved myself somehow. But those winds are no joke. Those
sure,
winds.
no, you ain't lying, right? It will prepare you for the elements too, like just being out in the valley or just wherever you live, you know, getting used to the elements will really help you to adapt, you know, once you start seeing it from different places.
Definitely elements. We don't even really think about it too much, like how the weather controls our moods and the type of stuff that we do. You know, someone in a rainy country is gonna be so much different than someone from a sandy country because they have to do different stuff. They have to, you know, different animals, different, you know, different vegetation.
I think what's helped me to grow as far as just get better at speaking with people is the fact that I really went door to door for years, like working in the elements. Like even when it would rain, I'm outside still knocking doors.
Yeah.
You know, when it's windy, I'm really outside knocking doors, still meeting people. To where I begin to develop that confidence where when I walk in some neighborhoods, I walk around like I'm the landlord or like I own the real estate. You know, but only just because I got a job to do. You know, I'm just came to tell them who I am, why I'm there, and just what I need them to do. You know,
Definitely, it's yeah, and it's hearing from so many different types of people, so many perspectives. That's what I mean. That's what a podcast is really about. My main goal is just to get different perspectives from people, and let people know, you know, that we might be super different, but we all kind of come back to the same thing.
Sure. We all want the same thing. We're all really pushing for the same vision, you know?
Exactly, just pushing forward.
For sure.
No one's like, oh, I'm gonna push the right amount where I mean, some people, yeah, they get comfortable. They don't really, but sometimes they don't know it that they're like just pushing it in a straight line instead of pushing it up.
Absolutely right. That's like just me living, I ain't gonna say enough life, but me experiencing 30 plus years of living. That's why I'm putting my story into the music, you know, and my first project being called Still Confused About Money. That might even generate the question where people's like, you know, am I confused about money, or, you know, so where it's like that opens a conversation.
Yeah.
And even if, you know, if any of my songs don't really resonate, hopefully, you know, if they listen to them and then go back to it, then the message will still be pulled from there, where I'm dropping jewels, you know, but I'm just telling my story, you know, just through the music, you know.
What's your ultimate goal in the music?
So the ultimate goal is to leverage millions, you know, from I'm gonna become a music nair, from music to millions. There's some people who, you know, I know the music industry is finicky, but really, I started out just doing it to help with my speech impediment, you know, like it was therapeutic, you know, and telling a story to a beat or to like a rhythm made it easier to get the message across. But now that I know that you can monetize it, you know, and that there's people that will pay, will pay for it, you know, or help to at least generate funds, you know. My ultimate goal is to leverage music to help me generate millions, you know. And
when you say leverage, what do you use that word a lot? What is
leverage,
that? What does that mean?
I'm glad you pay attention to that. So the brand that I'm adding value around is called OPM, you know, and that stands for other people's money. So it's like my relationship with money, I'm growing. I'm having a relationship with money to where I'm leveraging even debt, you know, like debt. There's a such thing as good debt. But when I say the millions, if you notice, I didn't just say millions of dollars only neither, you know, but it's like the connections that I'm establishing are gonna keep me in that space of having abundance, you know. But when I my bad, what was the original question you asked me? Sorry. This is getting good.
What does leverage mean? What does
So leverage,
mean?
right? So why I use leverage? Because again, like the music, again, I can tell my story through the music, which started out as just therapy, you know, but now that I know that I can monetize it, I'm still developing and becoming confident, you know. I'm still growing out of having a speech impediment where when you hear me sometimes it comes out, but I'm leveraging the music because I know that I can monetize, you know, my story, you know. I'm learning in hip hop or just in the music. Hip hop loves something damaged. Like hip hop loves things that are damaged, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm putting my story out there. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So that's what I mean by like I'm leveraging that because people will pay for that story, you know. So
people for sure. If you have, I mean, I'm sorry, but some rappers are so freaking bad. Some rappers are so bad, and they
they should
somehow
hang it up.
make it.
No, you ain't lying.
You
They should
hear a
hang it up.
bad song, but it's so catchy for some reason, and it catches the attention of millions. So if someone's making good music, then something's bound to happen. There's no way that someone that bad. I don't want to say certain names like Lil Pump or big names like that. But there's some there's no rapping ability really in it.
I will say though, Pump has a team, you know, like or just whoever may have a product that we don't really vibe with, their trick or their whatever method is literally having a team, you know, even if it's not a major machine, but it could be a team of people that can get the right amount of exposure or at least help to generate a deal that opens up another door, you know. Definitely. So I study stuff like that, you know, like even when Gucci Gang came out, I studied that where I'm like, man, he's reaching millions, you know, like he's got the right team, you know. But that's where, you know, even then, just for that, I'm learning the product I got is quality. Even if they're not really on it right now, I still got to make sure I get the right team in position so I can get this exposure on top of me just being consistent, you know, and doing everything that I could do, you know.
Without a doubt, it's gaining experience, gaining that knowledge,
and applying it.
And applying it.
Right.
Exactly. When you're thinking of the future and thinking of the plans, how deep do you go into it?
That's a good question.
Do you really like break it down, or do you just like set yourself a goal and then get to that goal pretty much?
As far as music, or just as far as my life overall?
I mean, I would say life, because music would fall into that, the goals.
For sure. Right, because it's one and the same. Got you. So really, I really have like as far as a like 3-6 month plan as well, but even as far as like a 10-year and 20-year plan as well too.
Okay.
But I really take it day by day. I like to inspect what I expect, you know, but really just play the numbers game, you know, make it, just get through the next day, you know, one day at a time, but continue to add value, you know. But as far as that, yeah, I don't want to say, you know, like, I'm calculated, you know, like I take calculated risks, but maybe I don't have maybe every day on the calendar written out, you know, as far as this is what I'm doing every day.
Yeah.
But I have a weekly routine, you know, and then I do my best to not just stay busy, but stay productive on a day-to-day basis. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking where, you know,
With music or that.
the music got you. But yeah, I have a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan. But the M's, you know, music, merch, and marketing. The marketing is what I use to generate the bag to fund OPM, you know, to generate OPM. And what I mean by that on a simple tip is I got passive income and then active income, you know. I don't just depend on passive income, but the passive income or investor money or money that can be generated, that's OPM, you know, or even debt. Like there's good debt that you could leverage, you know. And I'm learning on my journey of money, like if you can generate a $250,000 liquid, you know, you can become a millionaire on paper, or as far as you could be, you can get $1 million line of credit with a $250,000 liquid.
What does that mean, liquid?
Liquid cash. Like if you have a $250,000 cash, you can possibly go to a bank and become and open up $1 million line of credit.
Okay.
I mean, a line of credit that would make you a millionaire on credit, like on paper. I mean, you know. So that's what I meant.
Because you have that availability to get that $1 million in opposed to like you just having 10,000, you're not gonna get that.
Right. It's probably not right. It's probably not as simple as just going in there with a $250,000. But I'm saying like that's an idea of how money works. Like you can not have a millionaire, but get $1 million worth of credit, you know, towards that. And that's why I'm like, there's such thing as good debt, you know. If you put money into you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, but if you put, let's say just for the sake of the conversation, $250,000 into an investment or just into a bank, you know, that will give you $1 million worth of credit. I mean, on paper, meaning you can spend $1 million. Even though you only have a $250,000, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like that's just a way of leveraging OPM.
And then you can use that to invest into other things.
So in between small business and real estate, those are just two of the wealth builders, you know, that I'm learning. You know, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm stubborn on leveraging that to make sure that my family is set up, and that in the event that anything happens, there's, you know, standard operational procedures, you know, in play.
Definitely. That's it's a hard world to get into and to really think about all those investments that you have. Do you what do you look for when you're looking for like an investment?
I keep it simple. Like we got systems, you know. I definitely don't get too impulsive and rush into anything, but we look at, you know, like the long term, you know, like how does this affect us? Does this align with our morals and our ethics and just the logics, you know? Like if it makes sense, okay, you know. Like I'll sit down and talk with anybody. But I'm getting good at reading people, you know. If I read that you're joking, you know, or you're just into wasting time, I won't entertain that for too long, you know.
Definitely.
But when it comes to deals, like on a day-to-day, really I just look to add value, you know. Like I don't put the pressure on me to be like I gotta, you know, like I need 10 to win, even though I do, but I don't put that pressure where it's like if I don't get it, you know, I just say let me go out and meet some new people, let me make somebody smile, let me at least break the ice with somebody, get somebody to trust me, you know, like that's when I go back to saying energy is currency. Let me at least, you know, invest some time with people, because time is the most valuable asset that we share. You know, let me go do that. And I know as long as, you know, by making people feel good, they'll spend money. You know, like people spend money when they feel good. So I just strive to do that. I try to go out there, meet somebody new. I have a job to do, which as far as, you know, help people get a price protection, you know, so that actually adds value. Some people thank me, tell me they love me and all that. So it's like the more value I add with that, the more I kind of draw money in, you know.
Definitely. That's a great way to bring the energy and currency analogy back. It's
right.
You use your energy to, you know, gain the trust of somebody to so that, you know, it might not be in the way of getting something for you, but it's building that connection first, and then seeing what that connection can bring.
For sure. Yep. And that even goes back to the brand. Like when I say the E and the L in curtail is expressing loyalty, but it's not to confuse people. Y'all don't owe me y'all don't owe me nothing. Nobody owes me no loyalty. But this is just the energy that I'm giving off. Whenever I provide a service or a product, I want you to feel that you're valued. I want you to,
goes with everything, everything you do, music, marketing, shirts, everything.
For sure, right. I want that to be the feeling. I want to be like, this is a brand that not only can I be loyal to, but I feel like they would see the value in me. I'm not just a number. There's somebody who has a relationship, And the people who you see wearing this brand really are either a part of a business family or I've grown up with, or they're a part of my real family.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by it does get deeper on that end,
Yeah, it's it's a whole world that you don't think about until you really get into it. But the whole, dispersing your energy and knowing where to use your energy and knowing when to store your energy is so powerful.
When you start meeting people that are like high level individuals and you find out they're into like chakras and, or they're just into like, like spiritual therapy, it makes you want to know like, okay, what kind of value or wisdom can I extract from this, because of the position in life that they're at. Yeah. So me being a knowledge seeker, I wouldn't say it's got me in trouble, but it's kind of like made people look at me as a disruptor because I'm like, no, I'm hungry. Like I will pay to get in certain rooms, certain people that are at that level. Why? Because they can help me get to that level. And I'm not asking for a handout. I'm going to make them richer, or I'm going to add more value to whatever they got going and get rich in return. So, and that's when I set a goal in doing that. I'm usually successful time and time again,
Well, the biggest problem for people when they try to do that is, their ego, it goes against what they're doing. They're like, oh, these people, I'm better than all these guys. Like these guys ain't shit. Like I already know this stuff. But what if you pick up one thing that changes your whole life?
You had said it in the first podcast that the ego is the biggest demise.
Yeah.
And that stuck, and that's why I realized like, man, like a lot of blessings get blocked just by, man.
And it's not even just blessings. It's everyday things. Like, and it's again how you react to stuff. It's part of that ego that's gonna make you react a certain way. Your wife tells you something, and you're like, you don't know how to take it, and your ego takes it one way, and then you're just like, do I be mad about it? But let me bring it back. Let me think about it in a different perspective, because this is just my ego. This is my that like, oh, okay, this is hurting my manhood, and this is hurting, what I. But it's like, is it really? Is it actually? Or are you just taking it that way?
Right. I'm learning that gratitude is one of the least expressed virtues. Like being grateful, and by being grateful, even for to have opposition, to have somebody that has a different perspective, to have somebody that cares enough with you. I ain't gonna say to argue, but to rebuttal you and to convince or convert you. Not that it's always needed, but I'm learning like to be grateful for even the people that push you to become that better version of yourself.
Definitely. Like it's knowing what's hate and what's constructive criticism, and giving you that love, because it's something I always talk about with my girl. It's like we have a deeper connection because we could tell each other when we're fucking up. Sometimes as friends, you don't tell your friend that they're fucking up because it would hurt the friendship, or it would hurt the relationship between you guys too,
Right.
But with your lady or whoever is by your side, you connect everything with them. Like everything that happens throughout your day, you do it with them. Like it's sure. that connection that's deeper than anything.
You're right. And right, I'm the type where I'm passionate again, and I've learned too that like sometimes that passion has cost me some relationships, like even when people are wrong and I stand on, and like I'll point it out, I'll still express my loyalty. Hey, I'm with you right or wrong, but you're wrong right now, and we gotta address this. We gotta talk about it.
Yeah.
There ain't no rug sweeping, but it's like, I just need to know, like, cause if I'm rocking with you, right, wrong or right, you're wrong for this. Like, where's the justice? Like, justify, like, what's up with this?
Without a doubt. And it's like, but it's knowing those people that are going to be around you, that they're going to take those words to heart, and not take them to the ego, you know.
Right. One thing I want to work on is my leadership approach, and that's what I was saying too. I'm even gonna say leadership, but I just want to work on my approach and getting the message across, because it's like, like it's all in the betterment of developing into a better version of ourselves. I would want somebody to hold me accountable if I'm not on my square,
Definitely.
or if I'm practicing bad habits, knowing it's something that I'm passionate against, or knowing that something that I only talk about, but I'm living, I'm showing and proving. If I'm falling to the wayside, or or looking contradicting or just hypocritical to what I'm saying, it should be somebody in my corner that's holding me accountable.
Yeah, it's the ones that truly love you that are gonna be like, this is not what you're about. This
Right,
is not.
for sure.
I know the best. I know what the best version of yourself can look like, and that's not what you're doing right now. You're doing something that's on the opposite side of that. So it's definitely a love. I mean, I try to love. I mean, when I was in high school, there was that moment where I was like, oh, I hate the world, I hate people, and I hate this, with the system and all that stuff. But then I think back at it. Well, I still hate the system, but I started looking back, and I'm like, why am I closing myself off to people when nothing? I mean, thank God, like I have nothing major has happened to me in my life, where a tragedy or something. I've had a few here and there, but like I lived a okay life so far. And so who am I to judge another person, or another person that's going to come up to me, or that I'm going to have a conversation with?
Right.
If it's all it's doing is poisoning me, it's not poisoning them, for me to be like, oh, okay, I don't want to talk to you. It's not going to affect them. It's affecting me, because now I'm distrusting people, and I'm being antisocial, as they say. And so that's something I've had to learn, to just give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and just be friendly with everybody. There's no reason that you have to come off in a macho way, or a fucking this is me, I'm bigger than everybody. But being confident, there's also confidence right there.
Right. And some people do misconstrue confidence with arrogance,
Definitely.
But just to piggyback off what you were saying earlier, as far as living like a cool life, I kind of had a question that I wanted to ask. As far as like the life you live in, would you say like you're playing it safe, or would you say like you're kind of taking it, like, would you consider yourself a risk taker?
So I try to take as many risks as possible. I definitely do it. But I also have a plan as well that I am trying to follow, because I know that if I live a life where I live a life where if I have too much freedom, in life, I won't get to the places where I want to be. I need that plan. I need a work schedule. I need a schedule for myself, because then my mind just wanders off, and it gets lost into, the whole world. And so I don't stay driven as well. So having that work, that schedule, and treating it like a job, treating like this is time that I'm investing into myself.
Definitely, right.
It's not just like this game where I'm like, I've read a great book. Is it here? I really suggest this book to literally everyone I meet. Oh, right here.
Yeah, so you got the David Goggins too.
Yeah, David Goggins. The War of Art.
The War of Art.
The War of Art. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles.
Steven Pressfield,
yes. It's a book that's helped me tremendously, because it made me realize that he uses a great word in there, or two great words: amateur and professional. There's someone who takes the game seriously, and there's someone who takes the game as a game, And so I have had to turn myself professional in all the areas of my life. Not just, being a podcast host, not just being a musician, trying to learn music, trying to learn the actual history behind it, learning what instruments are, what music theory is, all that stuff, becoming a real professional in it, but also in my personal life,
Definitely.
With my family, getting my family in, getting my personal orders in, so that I can talk from actual experience and talk from having these healthy relationships with the people that sometimes in my life I haven't felt the I haven't felt that connection that we should have had, you know?
Yeah, you're right.
And so I had to look back and think about what the wrongdoings I did myself and think about all the stuff where I was messing up, how I was looking at things wrong.
Right, absolutely.
And so that's something that book had helped me tremendously. Like I said, I really suggest it to any creative, any professional like yourself, anybody who's trying to further their career in whatever they're trying to do. I really suggest that book because it really did make me realize, like, okay, stop being an amateur. Stop fucking taking this as like, okay, you're going to have a podcast and maybe one day it's going to blow up. No, that's not what the fuck happens. You got to keep fucking releasing them. You got to make this like, okay, I'm waking up. I'm going to wake up no matter what time it is.
Right.
Get to it. Treat it as a job. I'm going to be there for what? I typically want to do it for 8 hours, but there's those days that you have to do overtime. There's those days that you have to put in those extra hours, right?
Definitely.
Especially as a business owner yourself, you know that you really don't have time off. There's no time.
7 days a week, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, but real entrepreneurs don't take days off.
Yeah.
And it's not that we just, like, we still do rest, but it's like, every day it doesn't necessarily, we don't necessarily call it work, but even though it's like, I mean, we don't think of it as like just work. This is our lifestyle. Like, we breathe this, like we eat, sleep, breathe this for sure.
Definitely. And that's where I became, I'm not sure what was the question, Lily? What was your question at the beginning?
The question is, where do you consider it like the life you've been living, if you were playing it safe or if you were a risk taker? Is that what you were saying earlier?
Yeah. Okay. So definitely that's a book that made me realize that. Okay, right. But because I had came from, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, I started my podcast. I started doing videos and this stuff. And this was something I really felt in love with. I fell in love with creating something for people, and hopefully they enjoy it. Maybe they don't, but it's still me expressing myself. I remember in high school one time I got in trouble because I had made a video, and it was like a funny video, but it was kind of like not harassing, but it was kind of like making fun of one of the teachers there. Okay. And so they had to take it super wrong. They just didn't like it. So it was pretty much like we were gonna get suspended for it.
Oh wow, serious.
Yeah, so it was serious. And so, but the whole time I was like, man, I created something that caused this much emotion and evoked such a frenzy that I almost felt like a rush when I was doing it. And so I've always wanted to perform, and I've always loved the entertainment side of things. Sure. Entertaining people. And I loved like I remember as a kid I would always kind of like, I had bad days some days, you had those bad days with family, whatever's going on. And my biggest escape was going on to my phone and watching a YouTube video that just took my mind out of everything that was going on. It took my mind out of all the arguments I was having or whatever, and it was just me in that video, me in that song, whatever was in my ears, and I was just blocking everything out. So I wanted to do that for somebody else. I wanted to give them that brief moment of, okay, we're not here on earth right now, we're just fucking around, we're just having fun. And so I kind of lost track of that when I started working, when I started getting a job, because where
did you work at?
I did construction for the first 2 years after high school. And then after that, I did a technician job where I was working on cars and stuff, more electrical side of stuff. And so at those times, I kept rationalizing myself. I was saying, oh, okay, I'm going to give myself 3-4 years before I really start doing what I want to do. I'm going to give myself this amount of time. I'm going to save up this amount of money, and then I'm going to do it. But then that time period became longer and longer and longer. And now I was 4 years out of high school, and I was just like, or 3, I think, at the time, when I started thinking like, man, what am I actually doing? What the fuck am I, what have I achieved in my career in these past 3 years that I'm not happy with? And so that's when I was like, I'm not doing the stuff that I really believe in, and I'm not doing the stuff that, because when I was doing my podcast in 2020, which was about 3-4 years ago, I talked about who I wanted to be when I grew up, and who I wanted to really resonate with, and my goals. And I would listen back to those podcasts and be like, damn, I'm not doing that. That's not what I am.
Right.
And one of my podcasts, I explained, I was like, it felt like I was out of the clouds.
Out of the clouds. Right.
I was back in society, going through the system, trying to play the game, but I wasn't playing the game my way.
Right.
I was playing the game the way everyone else wanted me to play it. And so I was like, okay, this is serious. This is something that I really believe in. Right. This is not something that I can just have as a hobby. I can't just have it as something on the side. This is my life. This is what I'm going to do. This is the things that I have to do in order for me to think back at my life and be like, I did that. That's me.
Now that's heavy. That, along with what you mentioned about the amateur to professional thing, makes me think of the need to lock in. Like, you know, from you doing that, you really locked in on knowing, like, here's the way to be a professional is to work on my image and at least, like, or at least accept that this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to see it through. So that's major, you know, because that still screams consistency, you know, once you do that.
And definitely, it's something that I've had to force my mind to do. Right, I can't just, I can't, like, this isn't just like, oh, okay, I thought this now I'm all good and I'm good through my journey. Fuck no. Right. Every day I wake up, I want to fucking just sit there, lay down on that bed and just fucking be comfortable. You want to be that snuggled up and all that. But then you start doing your things. You're like, damn, I spent so much time doing that when I could have just been doing this the whole time. I could have spent my fucking 3 hours that I was sleeping. I could have spent that doing a podcast. I could have edited a podcast. So it's definitely an everyday battle. It's not something that just goes away, but at least knowing that what's behind it and what I actually feel, it's good. It's good to know at least that I'm reaching another level, reaching closer to that goal.
Definitely, right. And that's what it's about for real. So as long as you're striving, or at least you're sensing the elevation, you know, and you're building the good habits, you know, then that's a way to indicate that you're on the right path for reals.
Definitely. So, what are your goals for this year? You know, I don't want to, be all typical, New Year's goals, but what are your goals for this new year, and what do you want to, have out?
So, good question. So, business, like a professional goal, really, I really want to scale. To be honest, like I plan to scale $1 million for the Dignified Marketing Company to gross that. You know, the goal for Dignified Marketing is to gross $1 million this year, 2025. Yeah. And professional, I mean, just personally, or just even as an artist, I definitely plan to drop multiple projects, at least 4 projects, but get better with the rollout plans and marketing, and generate a real marketing budget, to just promote it. Why? Because I'm promoting my life, I'm just telling it just through the music, But as far as, so a goal musically is to produce some projects, generate a good budget, and just fund that, and to get the right exposure from there that can open up more doors and generate some good deals, maybe even that's not related to music, But and as a father, so my youngest, she's going to be 1 next month, February 7th. So I definitely plan to at least just take some calculated risk so we can generate some good memories, we're going to take some good photos for at least, just this year on out, of just the relatives that are having their birthdays, wifey's birthday's in March. So right after February, I got another child's birthday in May, and then another child's birthday.
So
the 19th of July. So it's like, but I'm saying all that to say, to make some memories though, like my goal in business is to scale the business to where I'm leveraging those millions, to music, to still tell the story, but to package it and just put the bodies of work art out there, the bodies of work and the artistry out there to just, to just demonstrate what I can do, But I definitely plan on this year being something that is evident that we took some momentum and just, escalated, It's evident I plan to grow into a better version of myself. I plan to get my image right, and those are just some of the basics of the personal goals,
Definitely. That's something that we could all strive for, is just keep pushing it, keep striving for greatness, and to make memories. That's all life is about, making memories and remembering those days with whoever you spent it with, if it's with your at $1 million house, or if it's with your, your kids, or with whoever it is, it's still gonna be memories at the end of the day.
Most definitely, right. Definitely looking to grow into a new living situation, though. Definitely for sure.
Definitely. So any shout outs just to kind of give them out.
Definitely, yeah. So once again, shout out to Lorenzo Rozier. Shout out to Dignified Marketing and the whole team. The OPM visionaries as well. Shout out to my core family members. The day ones that do support as well too. Shout out to the Curtail family. Shout out to Young Game. Most definitely. So still confused about money. I don't have a date, but the EP that's going to be produced by Young Echo, shout out to him, is going to drop this quarter. We want to say around March. So with that being said, yeah, just stay tuned. Definitely the choice is simple. The choice is yours. Stay dignified.
Well, thank you so much, man. It's always a pleasure having you here and just talking and having a conversation.
For sure. Yep. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Definitely.
As always, you guys stay in the clouds.
This is by Young Echo.
What they saying? Disregard it, man. Let's set a demonstration. Pick your placement. Play your position. Quarterback to play this.